skeptical of everything.
Really? So that means you take a chemistry kit to the pharmacy, and when the pharmacist hands you that bottle of medicine, you chemically analyze it to make sure there's no poison in there, right?
That's why I don't
Because unless
take
you have
medicine.
100% proof, you would never dare take that pill and put it in your mouth. Because maybe the pharmacist put poison in there.
Yes, I don't base it on 100%.
Right, thank you. So don't tell me you base your life on 100%
No,
proof. You
I'm
don't.
sorry.
None of us do. It's not possible. You can't.
Jesus Christ is God.
Yes?
Jesus Christ is crucified. He's dead.
Hey, he rose
He's
from the
go-
dead.
Well, where is he?
Where is he?
Yeah.
He's in heaven.
Ah, now he's dead then.
Become a Christian, and you did. If your parents would have taught you to be atheist, you'd be an atheist.
You gotta be kidding me. Didn't you hear what this guy said? Man, his parents made him go to Catholic school. Never mind church. And you've heard it from his own lips. He doesn't believe now. Although I cannot prove to you that my best friend is not going to stick a knife in my back, there's a lot of evidence that my best friend is not going to stick a knife in my back. That's why when I see my best friend on Wednesday, I'm not going to check her pockets and purse to find out if she got a knife in there. That's belief, sir.
Did Jesus ever claim to be God?
Yeah, he sure did.
When-
John
in the
8:58,
Bible?
Jesus says, before Abraham was born, I am. In John 10:30, Jesus says, I and the Father are one. In John 14:9, Jesus says, he who has seen me has seen the Father. Clearly, Jesus claimed to be God.
Welcome to 1 hour of the best of Cliff Classics, where we're diving into some of the most memorable educational moments and fiery debates. Get comfy, grab your popcorn, and enjoy the ride. All credit to Give Me an Answer for the clips used. Let's jump right in.
I have 2 questions. First of all, have you ever considered that religion in general, the many different religions that are on this planet, are basically metaphors that were imposed by the very, very early civilization to have some sort of order over the people? Leaders of very ancient civilizations had no control over these people unless they said, listen, there is a god or many gods up there that will punish you unless you do the right things.
Yes, that's happened. I agree.
And so then how, without, okay, what you have said so far is that you assume that the Bible is true, correct?
No. Never once did I say, I assume the Bible's
Okay,
true.
you know the Bible is true. That's what you were saying?
I said the evidence is the Gospels are historically accurate. That's
All right,
what I
but what
said.
you've basically been saying is that you are assuming, for the sake of argument, you are assuming that the Bible is true.
No.
Okay, well, let's just say that for the sake of argument. Just leave it there, all right?
I'm not out here to just have for the sake of argument, man. I'll be real blunt with
Yes,
you.
you are. All right.
No, I'm not.
Moving
I am
on.
sharing honestly my thoughts, and I trust that you guys are sharing honestly your thoughts. And if you don't want to share honestly, I don't have time. There are too many other people who got their hands up. If you want to share honestly with me, I'd love to talk with you.
I would love to.
Please do that.
Let me talk. Thank you. If you're assuming that the Bible is true, then going by anything else, listen to me.
I am listening. I can't believe you're contradicting me. But go ahead.
Oh my God. All right.
Well, I don't do that to you. I don't treat you that way.
You have been.
No,
You
I have
treated
not.
all these people.
I do not contradict you. I seek to listen to you and understand what you're saying and then answer you head to head.
All right, listen.
I am.
The evidence that you have said to prove all the different things that you have answered these people's questions with all stem from the Bible and God's teachings.
No.
Through Jesus. That is what you've been saying.
No, it is not.
All right, well, that's what a lot of people have been getting out of it.
I said very clearly that if you believe God exists because a book tells you to, you're a fool. I would never believe God exists because a book tells me God exists.
Why do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ is a different issue.
Why?
Jesus Christ is an historical figure. I believe in an historical figure because books tell me.
Because books tell you.
Because of an historical figure. God is not an historical figure.
All right, well, basically what I'm trying to say is that you are not thinking for yourself about all the different issues. Instead, you are going to a book, a man. I totally agree with you. Jesus was alive. Jesus was a very awesome man. I do not believe that he is the Son of God. I believe that you should be able to look at
Hey guys, welcome to the True Show tonight. I'm Shawn Petrie, here with my father Stan and son Kyle. This is our first time hosting it, so have fun with us tonight. Let me just come out and say real quick, just tonight's discussion is going to be about generations. And from my father Stan to myself, we have a 25-year difference. And from me to my son, it's 30 years, so we got 50-year span here. So just real quick, I want to open up in word of prayer, and then we'll jump into some of our topics tonight. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to share our experiences so that others may learn from us, that perhaps something we say resonates with somebody, that it causes them to question the way they're living or causes us to question the way we're living, and for each of us to learn from one another and change and evolve more like your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. So we got Marty on there. So you guys can say hi to Marty.
Hi, Marty.
Hi, Marty.
Sorry, I forgot how this works.
Felicia.
Hi, Felicia.
Felicia.
Hilda and Harry.
Hilda and Harry.
Hilda and Harry.
Oh, boy.
Mina and John. I'm sure on there. The Shachters are on there. John and Mina.
Oh, boy. Full house tonight. Huh?
Hi, John and
And
Mina.
of course the Salmons next door.
And the family
And you
Salmon.
can let them know I'm producing. I am producing here, so.
Mike is the producer because one of us would mess it up.
So a couple of announcements. Let them know that this coming up Sunday is our. Well, they can hear me. Guys can hear me.
Talk loud. Talk
There you go. This Sunday is our Christmas Day service. Not Christmas Day service, but Christmas service. We'll have a lot of the plays and skits that they've been working on, and then of course we have our actual Christmas Day on December 25th service. So get out there, invite people, get those invitation cards out there.
Do we have a movie tomorrow night?
Yes, thank you, Stan. We have a movie night tomorrow, 6 p.m. Christmas movie, hot chocolate, popcorn. Just come on and relax. Bring your own chair if you want a lawn chair. Otherwise you're going to be sitting in whatever chairs we have over there, okay? So lawn chair, whatever. Get comfortable, relax, come and enjoy the festivities. That's
Excellent.
it. I think that's it.
Enough for announcements?
That's enough. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, to start off tonight, the topic I came up with was generations. The differences of generations going from Stan to myself to my son. Right off the bat, and this isn't necessarily biblical, but I found once I become a parent, I finally understood my father and the challenges he faced raising me, and life just started to make sense. So sometimes as I was growing up, as I was raising my son here, I would hear all kinds of things coming back at me that I remember saying to my own father, and I finally came up with a saying that really resonates. It's right or wrong, your parents, right or wrong, set an example that you choose to change or follow when you get older. Now, is that biblical? Well, perhaps, but it's a good guideline, because I found once I became a parent, there were things that my father did I absolutely loved, and there was things that he did, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Sorry to put you on the spot. This will be fun tonight. But so, in saying that, we came up with different topics between the three of us tonight. I've got them written out here. But I wanted to start off with a verse that Stan came up with that kind of ties into everything we're going to discuss tonight. You want to go ahead and read that?
Exodus 20:12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. And
well, I'll jump back in on that. So, honor your parents. It doesn't say you have to love them. It says you have to honor them. Now, I'm not telling you stop loving your parents, but sometimes there's times when you don't feel the love between your parents, and yet you still need to honor and respect them. And no offense, but I went through it too. But Kyle being a teenager right now, sometimes we have some struggles that go on within our household. And I don't know if you all know, but we all live together. Stan has moved in with me. He's got his own room and space. And sometimes when there's dishonor within our home, Stan runs and hides while I try not to kill the child. But that being said, a good topic here recently is Kyle brought up some questions about bullying and fighting, and I remember getting bullied in school and fighting, and so let's start with Stan. Do you remember any of the things you taught me when I was a child about getting bullied or fighting? And what we'll do here, think on it a minute, what we'll do is we'll paint a picture how it went from him to me, and then one day you'll figure it out.
My main thing was I was always taught myself that if there's a problem, you don't run from it. You go and you face it, and either you're talking it out or you're going to fight it out. But you don't take somebody being brutal or bullying you. I know I had one time when my second son, he had a problem on the school bus. When he got home, he told me about the problem. I said, okay, where do they live? Me, Shawn, and Brian, we all went down to this house. I knocked on the door, and we stood back. We waited for somebody to answer. It turned out it was the father. And so we talked with the father, and I said, might be good if we had your boys out here also. We need to have a talk because there's been some bullying going on the school bus. And I want to make sure that we handle this properly and correctly and the way that good, sensible people would, rather than just saying, go beat him up or whatever. But that was my one way that I can remember right now with giving the example to Shawn and Brian both.
So while I continue with that, find that verse for me.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody, we're jumping a little, but Stan's going to put up another verse here for you.
What do you want?
You let him know. So, Papa Stan, as we call him, had taught me exactly what he just shared. You don't run from challenges like that. You face them head on. And, Kyle's had issues with bullies, and some of my advice to him has been, look, you got to face it. You don't start the fight, you finish it. Self-defense is definitely biblical. There's examples of that throughout the Bible. But to tie into what we're talking about here, bullying. So, I'm good. Sorry. This bullying topic here ties into the verse you see here, Proverbs 22:6.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to read that real quick, Stan?
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And let me jump back a little bit. Years ago, whenever I was a school teacher over in California, I was at a church school, and my students, we sang some little songs which had Bible verses in them. And this is one of them. I can't remember how it goes, but we performed this in front of the whole church. It was about 500 people, and everybody just loved it. But I had also taught my students, and just like I tried to teach my children, I'm going to do things that you might not like, but you're going to follow the way that I was brought up, which was being brought up as a Christian with rules, and you'll be brought up the same way. And my students were brought up, they were good Christian kids, and it all just fell right into place. And this is one of my favorite verses in the Bible.
So tying back into that on the bullying and fighting topic, there's going to be fights in life. There's going to be challenges, things you have to face, and stop it.
Give me a second to catch your thoughts a little bit.
Yeah,
Give me a second, hold on. Sorry, we froze. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
We just froze.
Well, as we're explaining this, though, between the generations, back in the day, I was telling Papa Stan, like, times have changed. Every generation, we always look to the previous thinking, oh, they had it harder. And they always say they had it harder. But what I've also realized is as things hard, but in a different way. So, as it's evolving from Stan to myself to my son, like when you used to get in a fight, it was done, it was over, it was resolved. But now with technology, which is going to lead into some of our other topics of technology and the way the world's changing, now kids, they get in fights and everything gets filmed and thrown up on the internet. Stuff I had to clue my father into is when kids get in fights, it's filmed, and there's actually websites these kids put up, and they put up the fight videos. So, in the past, we'd have these challenges and experiences, and they were gone and forgotten. But now with technology, everything is forever out there and sort of follows you these days. Yeah. So it's a new level of bullying and shaming that occurs. And so on that technology topic, there's so much that's changed. I was having a discussion with some older gentlemen today, and I was sharing this very story, and we got into the topic of technology because the older generation's typically not aware of all these new challenges that Kyle faces today. And I'm finding as a parent, I have to experience these challenges with him. Now, I'm not as old as Pastor Mike sitting here, but yes, I did grow up in the same generation prior to the internet, and the world was a different place without the internet. And, now that technology is has come into our lives and evolved from pre-internet to the early stages of internet to now the internet's on our phones, and one day, unfortunately, going into the bodies, which we'll be rejecting in this family. The technology, though, has created a social disconnect. There's a lot of people that are just socially disconnected. There's a lack of empathy. People can't put their phones down. They're so connected to their phones, and I'm just trying to think how to explain that. Like the lack of empathy, I see it. It's
Desensitization.
Yeah, it's out there when I'm driving on the streets. Just people don't care the way they used to care. You see it in traffic. You see it with families. Part of a rule we have within our own family from time to time is I take the phones from the children. Mm-hmm. Not as often as I used to, but it's a very helpful punishment these days. Mm-hmm. So, do you have anything to comment about that, or either one of you? No comments? Okay. Do we want to change?
I think, Pastor,
yeah.
If you could go to Ephesians 6:4.
Yep.
Now, Ephesians 6:4 is a good one because I myself have probably gone overboard at times with Shawn when he was younger, and so was I. Because I was very adamant about, you will follow my rules in my house. And I'm going to read it. And you fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of the Lord. Training and admonition of the Lord is very important. And I was always one that I'm just strict. Don't cross the line. Of course, I've relaxed that. I'm a lot better now because I'm just tired of the strife. But I've seen this with Shawn and Kyle. And it just takes me back to when we were younger, and now I get to see Shawn going through it. And like he said earlier, it's kind of amazing. He sees what I went through, except he's a lot easier to get along with than what I was. And but still, it's a situation where he's learning to work things out a lot better than what I ever did with him. Shawn?
Indeed. When Stan says he was a little strict, it was that's kind of an understatement. I'm sure some of you heard me say before that my drill sergeants were kinder than this man. But along those lines,
can you guys maybe Stan elaborate a little bit on? By the way, Deacon Jeff is on there, so he says hello.
Oh.
Maybe elaborate a little bit more on do not provoke your children to wrath. Maybe that's
sure,
because that's really ambiguous sometimes.
I'll jump into that one. I think I get it. My dad's style was definitely different than mine. I'm not going to go into details, but this is one of those where I didn't like my dad's style, so I changed it to here, and he's witnessed that from time to time. Provoking my child to wrath. There's times when I want to lose my cool with Kyle. There's time like he's gotten too old to spank, and to be honest, he was actually.
Has he though?
He's gotten too old to spank, but even when he's younger, for the most part, he's a good kid most of the time. But like any kid, they'll cross those lines. But as far as provoking to wrath, at least current times right now, I've come to recognize, like, when he does something, I've learned to pause and freeze and not just react and freak out and to not further comment or cause trouble with Kyle. I've learned to restrain myself. I've attained a level of patience to where I can talk to him rationally. I've learned to walk away from the situation with Kyle unless it demands immediate response. And Kyle knows this very well. The only time I really lose my cool is when there's disrespect and dishonor. Then I lose my temper. Yes, Mike.
So Marty says, my mom always said, "Do as I say, not as I do."
I'm going to plead the fifth here because there's parties at the table.
And Harlan says, I think Shawn turned out good, Stan.
He did. And, all three of my kids turned out real well. And I don't regret anything that I ever did. I sometimes would say, well, I probably wouldn't do that again. But things were different back then. And I'm not going to go back into the way that I was raised, but I just know I've told Shawn quite a few times, probably not Brian that much, but I was raised really, I would say, strict. If you didn't do it, you found out pretty quick what was going to happen. Here's a little example. I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad are going on a date night, and we're staying with my grandparents. And I'm crying because I'm 5 years old looking at my mom and dad leaving. And my grandpa, he said, "You better stop that crying." And I didn't. And I kept on crying. He said, "Last warning, you stop the crying or I'm going to get a peach switch and I'll fix it for you. You will stop." And those are the kind of things I remember because we had plenty of fruit trees around there. We had peach trees and we had plum trees and there was plenty of switches and I would have gotten fixed real quick. So I stopped crying. That's an example.
And you had peach trees.
Yeah.
No pun. No pun at all.
Peach trees, apple trees, peach trees.
But as Stan's sharing, that's definitely a generational thing. That was the Depression era generation, the one that survived through it. And that brings us to another interesting point. I actually want to get Kyle to talk a little bit here.
Yeah.
Kyle, just the other day, prior to this show, shared an interesting TikTok video with me about the Great Depression. Can you give us just a quick description on that, and I'll elaborate?
It was about like a financial economics and the difference between then and now, and how people are living and stuff. About like housing and food, I guess.
So it was making it was a TikTok video making a comparison about how the times right now are economically challenging, and this guy was comparing it to the Great Depression era. And I told Kyle, I said, well, yeah, economically that might be accurate in some sense, but not completely. And the primary thing being there, this guy on the TikTok video was applying it for people to be able to get housing these days. And I was like, Kyle, this was a different time. In each generation, times are different. Times are harder in different ways. And I said, well, it's hard for people to get housing right now. Back then, too. Back then, people were starving to death because they didn't have access to food. It's different today. There's access to food everywhere we turn. There's an abundance in our world. And it's interesting because with this abundance that we have in our country, it makes it more challenging to raise our children today. Just in our own household, I'm always in a battle between these two because I have the Depression era over here that wants to save every little thing, and I have the I don't care era that'll use it once and throw it away. And so between the three of us, I find I'm the balancing factor here. I have to reel him into reality and him into current time. Like both parties have to come to current times of where we're at right now. And I believe that is the correct way, because as I've studied the Bible and I've learned lessons of the Bible, the answer always seems to be a balance of things. I don't know the verse on that if we even have one, but
I've got one here, Psalm 78:4.
Go ahead.
Did you say Psalm 78?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start times.
And Harlan, yes, a bamboo switch
would hurt more.
Would hurt a lot more.
Absolutely, and I know because I hit my brother with a bamboo once.
He's like, I'll take a peach tree instead of a bamboo tree.
They both hurt. They both hurt.
Kyle, you want to read that?
Read what? 78:4.
I don't think you can see it. I don't think you can see it that easy.
Here.
No.
Can you see that?
We will not hide them from their children, telling to the generations to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he has done.
So with that verse,
Can you go any faster?
Being honest on this one, growing up as a child, no offense, Papa, he was always working.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing stories as a child, but what I can say in current times is within our household, I know that Stan and I both share our daily stories, especially when God's involved in our life, and we share those stories with the children and grandchildren in respect to you. Something I'm currently working on for the children is I'm actually working on a journal I do, and I've labeled it God in My Life, and I'm getting ready to print it out. And all it is a journal and a collection of stories where I've gathered everything that it literally was impossible unless God was there. Everything from the story you heard with Papa Stan falling the roof in the bathtub I laid down the day before to all my experiences. And I've been journaling that for my kids to pass it on to them here very soon. And with that, one of the other topics I had here was like God honoring traditions within our home. We had some when I was growing up, and maybe you want to speak on that, and then I'll tell what I do now, and then maybe
you tell yours first.
Okay, so God honoring traditions within our home. We pray when we eat. My wife and I pray together. It's difficult now because we have teenagers and they're all four going different directions. But when they were younger, we had times we would all pray together, not necessarily before bed, but just we'd pray together. Now with teenagers going four directions, I'm not going to lie, I feel like I've lost control. I hope that I've set some good examples. We do have a mixed household. For that, having a mixed family, second marriages, it makes it a little more challenging. But the God-honoring traditions we have, like I said, that God in my life journal is something I'm giving to the kids. When we eat dinner together, I share stories with the kids when we do have family dinners from time to time. What else? Can you think of anything that we do? God-honoring traditions? I will say this. We go to church Sundays and we try to make Wednesdays. We listen on Friday nights. We're not perfect on all that. What else? What are some God-honoring traditions you think that I've set up? Do you have anything in mind?
We try to better ourselves, and we do a lot of donations and fundraisers for different communities.
There you go.
One community that we build bunk beds for homeless kids across Arizona and America. We build bunk beds from scratch, and we
Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Yeah.
We did a organization when I was a little kid for UMOM. We donated a bunch of stuff. Lots of cleanups and projects for around different communities, and they did a event recently last week to St. Vincent de Paul to give out Christmas presents to children.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good one. So these are the kind of traditions I've set up with my children. They see me. St. Vincent de Paul is a school where my Army buddy used to work. He just left there a year ago. But every year, this is our 4th year, we sponsor this poor little school in Maryville, and they give us about 4 to 6 families to sponsor, about 10 to 20 kids. And every year we do this for the last 4 years. I go out, fundraise, get money, because I don't have the finances to take care of that many kids. But it's interesting because every year, no matter how many they give me, God always sends the appropriate amount of donors, the appropriate amount of money. Like it always just falls in perfect to the point where, like, the first year I did it, I was scared, I was stressed. I was like, how am I going to do this? And now I've seen it. This is the 4th year. It's like, no, it's easy. I set it up and God puts the pieces in place. I just have to do the work and He makes it happen. But by me starting these traditions, these events, my children see how I do good in the world outside of church. The church is one thing, but this is something we do as our family. It's something I've set up with my business to sponsor. Stuff like that.
How has that affected you, Kyle?
Reflects off of him and teaches me to follow his footsteps and follow the goodness he has, and to just become a greater person than I was like, if I didn't have him, probably down a different path right now. It's setting a good example for kids like me and other future kids.
Because it puts feet to his faith, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And you find that important on the dad level versus on the mom level?